Hey, I'm Matt. And I'm JäYoe. Matt, you've got something really important to do. Lee, come on, let's go.
Hey, what is this?
This is the Ningbo Focus.
Come on in.
Okay. In 1973, an amazing discovery drew the eyes of the world onto Yuyao, Zhejiang.
Just 22 miles from downtown Ningbo, a Neolithic national archive of treasures was unearthed, carbon dating back to over 7,000 years ago. And it belonged to...
Hemudu!
Not only are the innovations of the Hemudu people so important that they're spread through all of modern society, but there's also quite a lot of them.
We've squeezed them all into 8 Hemudu focus facts.
1. River culture.
The He in Hemudu means river, and it refers specifically to the Yuyao River, which is the lifeblood of this region. Now the Du, fourth tone, Du, stands for to ferry, and that's something that the Hemudu people did very well, carrying goods in and around their settlements, in small boats like this.
These are the oars used by the Hemudu people, carved from one piece of the wood.
These oars are not dissimilar to the shovels created by the Hemudu people, from the shoulder blades of the ox to cultivate their fields. And this brings us to our next focus fact.
2. Agriculture.
Now you know what this is, don't you, Lee?
Yeah, but do you know what it represents?
It represents 1/5 or 20% of the world's calories. That's huge. And there's a lot of processes that go into putting a pot of rice on the table.
So where did all these skills come from?
Have a guess.
These are clay cooking pots, and in the bottom you can see the fragment of burnt rice.
Wild rice grows upwards, and we now know that only domesticated rice grows sideways, like this.
See these small holes? This was how broken pots were fixed, by being sewn back together.
Speaking of sewing.
3. Fabrics and textiles.
Now Ningbo has a textiles industry which wraps around the earth and back again, and it's probably one of the biggest too.
Yeah, so no surprise that more than 5,000 years ago, local people have already written their own fabrics.
And using techniques which are still in use today.
We can't say exactly what the Hemudu people wore.
But we can tell a lot about how they wore the fabrics from the width of the fabrics. And Lee, how do we know that?
Simple. The fabric can only be as wide as the tools used to make them.
Very clever.
4. Domestic animals.
Look at his little belly. Suck it in, Lee. But actually, wild animals didn't have time to be standing around and lazy and growing big fat bellies.
So this is one of the reasons why experts know the Hemudu people have developed ways of keeping animals.
One other important reason is that they found domestic doggy poop.
5. Lacquer.
Now have a look at the chair you're sitting in, or the table you just ate dinner at, or the fan that Grandma's wrapping. Now chances are they're all lacquered.
They have a shining, smooth finish.
And the Hemudu are proof that China was the first civilization in the history of the world to use lacquering as a means of beautifying and preserving wood. The process of lacquering involves cutting 5 to 10 horizontal lines on the trunk of a Chinese lacquer tree and collecting the greyish yellow sap that exudes, applying it in layers and finally heat sealing it in a clay oven.
6. Gods and deities.
Wow, look at the artwork on this piece.
It's from pieces like these that we can ascertain that the Hemudu worshipped the birds and the sun as their gods. These are images of the self. In fact, some historians would say that the creation of an image of oneself is the beginning of art and civilization, as it signifies the beginning of introspection.
Wow.
Seven. Architecture.
Now this is really cool. Just take a closer look at this.
This is a mortise and tenon joint and is still in use by carpenters and joiners in the modern day.
This part of Yao River is a floodplain. The water level in this area rose and fell often. So homes needed to be raised for safety.
So what the Hemudu would do is they sink these poles into the ground, tens, hundreds at a time, and on top we will build majestic grass-roofed dwellings.
Now, at around 6000 BC, the Hemudu people developed the idea of supporting their stilts with a base plate, and this meant that dwellings could be built bigger, stronger, and safer.
This style is so effective that it is now common not just in Zhejiang, but all across Asia.
8. Matriarchy.
We talked about the word Hemudu, the He and the Du, right? But we didn't talk about the Mu, which is Mu, third tone, Mu, and it's the Chinese word for female caregiver, female guardian, basically mother.
It's because every important decision was made by the female leaders of a community.
Right. 每个成功的男人背后都有一个成功的女人。
Right.
So, in the Hemudu tribe, the most respected position was held by the wife. In Ningbo Hua, wife is Lo Bao, wife, Lo Bao.
And every wife has her husband.
Our husband, Lo Gong, husband, Lo Gong. Now, the wife would need to tell the husband what he needs to do. And the first thing she's probably going to say is, come here, come here, 追过来, come here, 追过来.
And if you come here, then you will also go there.
Oh, go there. 到英语期, go there. 到英语期. How do you think the husband would feel about that?
没关系, no problem.
没关系, 唔够. No problem, 没关系, 唔够. What if you can't do it? Then he's going to say, no way, 没办法. No way, 没办法.
So let's review it. Wife,
罗包,
husband,
罗公,
come here,
接过来,
go there.
到英语期,
No problem,
唔够,
no way.
没办法.
Okay, let's take our new Ningbo Hua for a paddle. Laogang,
老包，
Laogang, 追过来.
老包，
Laogang,
老包，
Laogang.
老包，
到1年期.
唔够，
追过来，到1年期，追过来，到1年期。追过来，
没办法.
老公， 最贵嘞？
罗包，
老公。
这里是。All right, Lee, it's time for our question of the day.
Yep.
How do we know the Hemudu people raised domesticated animals?
If you know the answer, post it on the Weibo page. There are many wonderful innovations in modern society. The fabrics, the farming, the building, a lot of things have passed down to us.
Right. You know what, Lee? I think there's only one thing left to say.
Thank you,
Hemudu!
March, Shanghai, and Vice Mayor Hong Jiaxiang marked the beginning of spring with a vibrant speech to consulates from over 70 countries. In 2013, Ningbo's thriving economy has grown by 7.8%, and in focusing on the hugely successful 11th China International Consumer Goods Fair and the forthcoming 12th, as well as the 15th China Zhejiang Investment and Trade Symposium and the 6th China Opening Up Forum, Mr. Hong's intent was clear: Ningbo is the city to invest in. Equally concise and eloquent speeches were also given by the director of the Ningbo Foreign Trade and Economic Bureau, Yu Danhua, and Ningbo CCP-IT Vice President Mr. Chen Yilong. Finally, Ningbo Municipal Government Foreign Affairs Office Director Mr. Kong Weiwei concluded proceedings with a warm toast which was equally well received. Both distinguished hosts and their guests spent a lively evening together as they shared pleasantries and built ever closer ties. Now, from all of us here at the Ningbo Focus, we wish you a warm goodbye for now, and remember, the future's bright, the future's in Ningbo.